Yeah. And so it's November 1st and the seller's still in there. And the buyer's like, hey, this person's still in here. They need to pay us rent. Like, you know what I'm saying? We already made an agreement. He should have been out since last week, you know? And so the park manager, she's an investor too. She told me one thing. She said, Ryan, she said, stay out of it. She said, you get you get the paper signed, what you need to get signed, and you let them take care of that.
All right, guys, this is Kelly from Hills, Deals, and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course, and we got a special guest here today, Mr. Ryan Goer. And
Yes.
Ryan, first of all, I appreciate you getting on here on such short notice. So introduce yourself to everybody.
Yes, my name is Ryan, and been investing actually for the past since September for about a couple of months. And I'm a nurse, been a nurse for about 9 years now, and I, just been investing, wholesaling mobile homes. So I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Kelly. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
So how do you go from nursing to mobile home? How did that work?
Well, just a long story short, I always had an interest in like real estate. But like the traditional, like, wholesaling houses and stuff like that. But I just came across, I remember I came across a video with mobile homes, and on YouTube. And I figured, like, with mobile homes, it's like a lower entry point, I guess, to real estate. And so, I was like, I kind of switched my focus like more to mobile homes. And but that's kind of like about like how I came about that. Yeah, I kind of wanted a little bit more income coming in as well, passive income. As a nurse, we're blessed, working 10 to 12 hour shifts, sometimes 14-hour shifts. It's just like it wears on you a little bit. So I wanted to get into something where I can create, at least create some income to where I can get something passive. And so that's how I came into mobile homes.
Okay. Okay. And so you recently, no, you started in September, and
Yes.
we're in December now. And
Yeah.
so you recently closed. Was it your first deal that you just recently closed?
Yes, ma'am. I closed my first deal. It was October 24th, and closed my first deal. Made $1,000. Took literally that transaction took maybe about 3 hours to do, and I was just like, "Whoa, this is amazing," So,
Wow,
you know,
wow, wow.
yeah,
First deal, three
yeah,
hours, a thousand
yeah,
dollars.
yeah, $1,000. Yeah, $1,000. Yeah. And so I'm like, man, I don't make this money like this in nursing, So like, no, this works. So yeah, it was an interesting process for sure.
Okay. And so how did this process go? How did you, first of all, how did you find the seller?
Okay, great question. So my thought in general was, I was on kind of on a shoestring budget, so I wanted to I had to literally like cold call like mobile home parks. That's what I did. And so I cold called maybe about literally maybe 40 to 50 mobile home parks like between September and October. And so I cold called one park in Fort Worth. The park manager pretty much said they had someone interested in selling and they was going to pass my information along. Long story short, I go on Craigslist randomly, because I'm looking, up mobile homes, and I see that a mobile home for sale in that same park with the same address. So I put two and two together, and so I literally that next day I went by that home and I knocked on the door. No one answered, so I put a sticky note on the door saying like, "Hey, sorry I missed you. I just had a question about your mobile home," with a smiley face, and put my name and my number on, and then they called me literally the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned budget. Okay, but we're
Uh-huh.
talking about wholesaling. So what kind of
Yeah.
a budget do you really need when you're wholesaling? I'm trying to
Well,
understand.
yeah, great question. Well, you really don't. To me, everyone's different, but for me, I feel like only thing you need a budget for is maybe like gas and stuff. But for what I was doing, like I was literally cold calling. That's free. So I was cold calling different parks. I had a list of at least 100 parks, around DFW and surrounding areas. And so I would cold call parks, and then I would take the information down, the park manager, blah blah blah. And then so the only thing that I had to pay for really was for gas. Everything else was by networking. I tried the bandit sign thing, and I'll tell you what, the code enforcement, they don't play. I would tell you that. So I got a call from an angry officer, and so I had to scratch that out. My wife is like, "You're not doing that no more." So it's just like, what other ways could I, do it would be more cost effective? And so I just cold called, and that's how I got that lead, my first lead.
Okay, okay. And I
Yeah,
and I like your sticky note because I notice when you do like little sticky notes or just put it on a little scratch piece of paper, to
yeah,
me, you get a phone call quicker than you send some official We Buy Mobile Homes. What are your
yes.
thoughts about that, Ryan?
Well, great question. Right, great question, Kelly. So, before this, I was a realtor. I was a realtor for about 2 years, and what I would do is certain houses I was seeing like personal hand note written notes is because it's more personal, And so I had that same idea with this seller was that, hey, if I can just handwrite this note on a little sticky note, to me it's like a little more personal touch. I'm not just some regular institutional, buyer or whatever, like I'm a real person, And so when the guy called me the next day, he was open to a conversation, and so I think that the handwriting notes, I know that works, hands down for me,
Well,
100%.
yeah, I totally agree with you. And I
Yep.
totally agree with you with the bandit signs too.
Yes.
Yeah, we tried the bandit signs, and I'm like, okay, this is too much. I'm
I'm
not gonna
telling you.
I'm not gonna be able to do you. So you, Ryan, so now you told me you were a nurse, but now you were a realtor at one point too. So why
Yeah.
did you give up on the realtor side of it, or
You
what's
know,
going on?
man, so this is what I did as a realtor. I would make like a lot of cold calls to different like probate leads. I was working with a broker at the time, and so my job was to cold call, and it was okay, but it just I feel like it wasn't me, as far as like the calls and just being a realtor. It just wasn't me, So I was able to like literally close two deals, but it took literally like 2 years. It's two
Wow.
years. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So, and it's like they don't teach you like in realtor school, they don't teach you like, hey, you got to really get out there and hustle. They teach you how to pass the course, but they don't teach you how to really get out there and hustle and learn and how to talk to sellers, how to build rapport, and so but so a lot of that experience I had as a realtor, it helped me actually with this lead, some of the things that I learned, and so, but yeah, so I learned a lot from it, being a realtor. Would I do it again? I possibly would, but dealing with mobile homes, and land, so I possibly will do that for sure. But just outside of that, like I don't see myself doing any other stuff, with the license. So
All right.
yeah,
So you closed the deal in 3 hours, got $1,000, and you
yeah.
closed two deals as a realtor, and it took you 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Listen, 2 years. Lots of cold calling. Literally, I call maybe about on average 600 people a month. So each times that by close to 2 years, that's how much time I spend on the phone. And then in addition to working my 12 to 14-hour job,
Wow.
and so it's not for the faint of heart, but it was just like, it has to be a better way, not an easier way, but a more efficient, better way for sure.
So Ryan, do you foresee yourself ever quitting your job as a as a nurse and
You
doing this
know,
full time?
I would like to. That's the
Okay.
goal, but I just have to walk in wisdom with that. I would like to get some rentals, and I know some certain parks, they want to see you bringing that income in. So at the same time, having a job is a good thing, but eventually I would definitely like to do this full time, 100%.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's rewind. So you got your first deal.
Uh-huh.
And what was the conversation you had with the seller?
So pretty much, they were looking to sell. They had like another place to move into, and so oh, this is a long. I don't know if you got time, but
We got time. We here to learn.
this,
We got all
this
day.
is heavy. This is heavy. So
Okay.
we're talking. We're going back and forth about the price. You know, I had it under contract for 13,000, and so and then I called the park manager. And so me and the park manager have great rapport. You know, she's know what I'm doing. She's okay with it. And and so I found out that the guy's behind on lot rent. He didn't tell me that, right? So I said, okay. So I'm thinking like, how much are you behind on lot rent? And so he said, well, I fell on hard times, this and that. I said, okay, how much? So he said maybe about a month or two, you know. Come to find out this guy was behind, I think close to 6 months on lot rent.
Ooh.
And so I said, okay. And so I'm finding surprises more and more and more. I don't like unexpected surprises, you know, like that, you know. So I said, okay. I said, okay, we'll work through that. You know, I'm working with the park manager. And then something told me to ask him about the taxes, right? And so I said, hey, have you caught up on your taxes? He said, yeah, I've been paying my taxes every year. Come to find out he was behind 2 years on taxes too.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, same thing I said. So I was just like, okay. He said he been down on his luck. I said, okay, okay, no worries. I said, hey, man, I'm here to help you. You know, I don't care if you owe $1 million, but I need to know, like, what you really owe. So I got that information. I think he owed about $800 worth of taxes, close to 3 grand worth of lot rent. And so, man, I learned so much, Kelly, you know, but the first thing I learned was to always verify the taxes and the lot rent to make sure they're current with the lot rent. That's the big thing, you know. And then two, I have to reassure the apartment manager that she was gonna get her money back. And so I was just like, okay, let me make sure she get her money back first. So that way we can kind of get the ball rolling, you know. And so we got the property I got it on the contract for 13, and and then I had an open house. You know, I had about like six buyers, about 6 or 7 people that showed up. Um, I had one buyer flaked on us, you know, it wasn't really serious. And then I had an investor buyer who buys in that park. He bought it for 14. So he paid me my 1,000, and then he paid the seller we got the seller to pay the 13 minus the lot rent minus the taxes. And so if I'm blabbing on, just let me stop
No,
me.
you're doing a beautiful
Yeah.
job. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so yeah, so that's those are the main two things. Make sure that the taxes are paid, and make sure the lot rent is they're not behind on lot rent. And then I always make sure to see the deal through. So I'm literally at the tax office with the buyer and the seller, make sure the taxes get paid. And then the tax office gives us, and we're in Texas, so they give us, I think, a 1076 form, and stating that the taxes have been caught up and it's sealed. It's like literally a sealed stamp on there, right? And so the buyer and seller are there, I'm there, make sure everything's paid off. We get a receipt, and then on top of that, we go to the park manager office to do the paperwork for the buyer to get approved. You know, and the buyer didn't have to do too much like jumping through the hoops because they already had investment properties in the park. So they were willing to work with us. So that's another thing I learned too, is that consumer buyers are great too, but the investor buyers are good too as well. It's good to have both, you know, and because sometimes you want to get the deal done with speed and convenience, you know, and so we was able to do that, and it literally took 3 hours, you know, and I just had to see the deal through, Kelly. I had to make sure the park manager got paid first, make sure the taxes got paid first before I gave the seller the rest of the money. And I was there literally for all those transactions. So that was about a 3 hour day,
Oh.
4 hour day. So no, it's a lot. But
And so everybody got paid. At what point did the seller leave the house?
oh gosh. Okay. I'm telling you, man, you can't make this up, man. So he got paid. This Joker got paid, right? He got paid. And so I get a call, text message from the buyer, like, hey, the seller still hasn't, the guy still hasn't moved out. And so I'm like, what? What do you mean? So I had to literally go back up there because on the statement of ownership form, I forgot to put they forgot to put their signatures on the last page, and so I had to literally bring them back together, all of us together to do the signatures correctly. And so, long story short, we got all that done. The seller ended up staying there at least, I think about a week after, you know.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it's yeah, and so it's November 1st, and the seller's still in there, and the buyer's like, "Hey, this person's still in here. They need to pay us rent." Like, you know what I'm saying? We already made an agreement. He should have been out since last week, you know. And so the park manager, she's an investor too. She told me one thing. She said, Ryan, she said, stay out of it. She said, you get you get the paper signed what you need to get signed, and you let them take care of that because there was an agreement between them, And so that's why I kind of did, I kind of took, follow her advice. But the seller ended up moving out literally maybe a week after that. So the seller was in there about a week and a half. Um, Maybe I could have did something a little different, but I was just ready to I was just ready to be done with the cat. I was ready, man, because this, all due respect, you can't trust sellers all the time, and so they don't, so it's just like, man, you already lied about the taxes, or you already lied about the lot rent, and I understand people get on hard times now. You telling us you're going to move a certain day, but you taking a darn, a whole week and a half to move out, and you living for free pretty much, and you got your money. So that yeah, so that I don't know how I would do that differently, but that was a definite experience. But I did learn about the paperwork. I did learn what the Austin, the THDCA needs paperwork wise. So they know me by name now. I call them literally every other week with a question because it's every situation is different. So that $1,000 was definitely a blessing, but it was definitely a learning lesson for sure, 100%.
So, Ryan,
Yeah.
you think that you could have held the seller's money until he actually moved out?
Yes, I could have, and I should have.
Uh-huh.
I really could have. And but that's something that now I know, but I should have did that,
Right, right,
because I put the buyers they were in a bind,
right.
and so yeah, I could have did that. Next time I would definitely do that. And because you just sometimes you just can't trust, you can't trust sellers like that. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, they literally lived there for free for basically a whole week and a half, without paying anything to them, and all of a sudden now we can't get in contact with them. Obviously we can't, you know what I'm saying? Because they're gone and changed their number. So, but thank God for the buyers. They were understanding, and so definitely for sure.
Mm. So, Ryan, the buyers were investors though, right? They had no plans on living in there.
No,
Okay.
no, they own, I believe they own two other homes,
Okay.
and in the park, and so they had no plans on living there. So I think it was their third one there, and then now, so I have them with me now because I think one of the homes they bought got title issues. So I was like, man, I'm learning a lot. Title
Right.
issues are no fun.
Right.
It's like, man, it's like a Pandora's box, man. And so I'm trying to help them out with this mobile home they have with title issues, but I'm kind of establishing a rapport with them. So it's like, hey, I have a buyer, a legit buyer, because they're investors. So for sure.
Right. Right. So, Ryan, when the park manager told you, "Hey, just stay out of it," what were your thoughts about that? Because I don't agree with that. Because you're the reason
Yeah,
why both of them met each other.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was just like, man, this is crazy, man. Like, I don't know. I see what she's saying, but at the same time, it's like, you want to, any business that I'm a part of, you want to make sure that everyone else around you has a good, positive experience. And so, I didn't agree with her with that part, but I understood what she was saying, but it was just like, nah, I don't know, So my reputation is more important, you know what I'm saying? And
Right,
so, like I said, I didn't want to strain my relationship with them because they are legit buyers, and more importantly, they're really good people, And
right.
so, yeah, but I didn't agree with that as well either.
Right. And so,
Mhm.
Ryan, just from this one deal, you got a relationship with the park manager, you got a relationship with the seller who could possibly tell other people in that neighborhood, hey, he
Yeah,
helped me sell my home. And then you got a
yes,
relationship with the buyer as well. And then you got a relationship with the people who hand out the titles for these mobile homes. So you done built several relationships and collected 30, not 30, collected $1,000
yeah,
in a what, an hour or two?
yeah, about 3 hours, two or
Yeah,
3 hours.
yeah.
Whereas it take me literally, yeah, it take me over 30 hours to make that. I'm straight up. So I'm like, nah, this is, I said, if I can do this, oh yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go in with wholesaling for sure. Mobile homes.
So Ryan, for those of us who don't know what wholesaling is, can you like this briefly like break it down? How does it work?
Yeah, just real easily. Pretty much wholesaling mobile homes is like, so you have seller A, right? And pretty much you're hooking them up with a buyer with seller B, and pretty much you get paid as far as like the finder's fee. So the buyer pays you a finder's fee. So like say for instance, Kelly has a mobile home for 500. She wants to sell for $500, right? But if I have a buyer that's willing to pay $1,000, right? Kelly would get her 500, for her sale of the home, and then my finder's fee would be that 500 that remaining, So I'm not sure if I did a good job explaining that,
You
but
did an
that's
excellent
how my
job.
brain works.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's what wholesaling is. You're just helping pretty much you connecting a buyer and a seller, and you get paid as a middle person. And it's been a good experience so far for sure.
Okay. So Ryan, you had open houses. That's how you
Yeah.
found the buyer, right?
Yeah, so great question. Wow, great point. So yeah, that's two things. Wow, good point. So I did have an open house. And I also have a Facebook buyers group, right? And so what I did was once I got the property under contract, what I did was I took pictures of the home and I took a video of the home and I posted it in Marketplace and also posted it in my Facebook buyers group. So in my buyers group, I have now at the time I had about 3,000 people. So right now I got about seven close to 7,000, right? And so I post my deals, what I have in there, and then what I did was when it came close to so I had the open house on Monday, right? And so all my buyers came, and I had about 6 or 7 buyers that came out. And then I had an open house the next day as well, and I had like literally 2 buyers that came out the next day. And so, and what I did, I tried to, for me, and just from what I've seen, like other, mobile home investors do, I try to schedule my open house at least an hour, no more than an hour. So if I have an open house maybe at 3 o'clock, like if I get there at 2 o'clock, my open house is at 3 o'clock. I'm already there at the property. And the reason why is because from what I've seen from other investors is that, you have the sellers talk to the buyers and stuff like that beforehand. And so I try to make sure I get there an hour before the open home is like really, when it's available. So if I get there at 2 o'clock, my open house is at 3 o'clock. And that way, if I had buyers, which did, I had buyers coming in, I gave them all pictures of I had a little balloon set up. I gave them a picture of a little balloon by the mobile home so they can find it. And then I started seeing cars just coming by, like in now, hey, is this the mobile home? Hey, this is the mobile home.
Mhm.
And that's how that went.
Okay. And so, Ryan, is it that okay, you had the open house. So,
Uh,
do you ever not want the buyer and the seller to meet? In this particular situation, they actually did meet because you had to take them, to situate the taxes. But do you ever really want them to meet, or how do you go about doing that?
well, that's a great question. I guess it just depends. I know for me, it was my first time. Like I didn't want them to meet. But at the same time, I knew that I develop a great rapport with the seller. That's the key, is like whether they meet or not, I prefer them not to meet until after. But I'm transparent with the seller first and foremost. And I told them what I was gonna do. I told the park manager what I was doing. I'm always transparent. And I feel like if a person's not willing to accept my transparency what I'm doing, then that means, they're not a good fit for me in business. That's okay. I can go to another seller, and so that was key, was me being transparent. And so I prefer them not to meet, but if it happens, it happens, because the seller already know what's going on. And so that's what happened. And actually the buyer actually literally went by the home after I told him the open house was the following day. He still went by there, and the seller called me and said, like, hey, this buyer came by. What do you want me to do? Then see, and that taught me, like, okay, developing rapport with the seller is really important as well. And so I appreciate that the seller was honest up front with me, because they could have went behind my back and did whatever, but they were in the bind. You know what I'm saying? So, but it just depends. So the seller and buyer did meet after, and it was all good, because the seller they needed help, and then the buyer, they didn't really know how to do the paperwork.
Okay.
So they know how to do the paperwork correctly. And so it's just like, okay, I'm still needed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I told her, I said, I'm still needed. I said, hey, if y'all don't sell, unfortunately, they're gonna try to put an eviction on your credit report. And if this title's not transferred correctly, that's guess what? The tax is going to still come back in your name, Mr. Seller. So it will behoove you to, be patient with me through this process, so we can get this transaction completed correctly in the right way, right?
Right.
And that's what happened. And it was just easy as butter. But yeah, so
Wow. Wow.
yep,
So, Ryan, so you had the conversation with the seller, you had it with the buyer. How did the
yep.
conversation go with the park manager? How did you tell her, hey, I'm helping these people sell a home?
Yeah, and I told her straight up. I said, "Hey, this is a nice home. It doesn't really meet my criteria, but I do have other buyers." And I told her this. I said, "Listen, whatever buyer who's going to come through and look at this home, I'm going to make sure that they're park approved first, or park approved. And so, and to be honest, she just wanted her money. That was that was it. She said, I don't care what you do, just give me my money. You know what I'm saying? And so, and she said that way, but that's the way I heard it. So I'm like, all right, so let me, you know, um over deliver, under deliver, or how you said, under promise and over deliver. And so that's what I did. So I made sure to tell, the part manager, hey, this is what's going on. I'm helping the seller. And she was like, hey, that's okay. We're investor friendly. It's all good. Just make sure you pay the lot rent, get paid. I said, okay, no problem. And then literally every day I was keeping her updated, like what was going on. See, they had title issues because their title wasn't transferred correctly, the sellers. So literally I'm calling the THDCA to get their title situated, to straighten out. And so I made the call. They got it situated out, and that gave the seller, it allowed the seller to trust me more, because they were able to have that title in their hand, and they were like, oh, this guy know what he's talking about. Now we have the physical title in our hand or online. And okay, we can trust him now. So
Right.
it's really about, okay, keeping the part manager informed what's going on. Hey, I had a buyer come out, it didn't work out, but I got another buyer, and they're like, okay, Ryan, just as long as we get paid, cool. And so, and I sent her, and what I did, I sent her, see, a handwritten card. See, Kelly, you mentioned it. I sent her a handwritten thank you card with a gift card for $25. And I literally said, thank you for your help with me with the seller. And I said, I really admire your patience. And I always try to highlight something that I like about somebody if I'm writing about cars, because it's for, it's for me, it's like, wow, it's really them. Like they're patient, they're kind. So I was like, hey, you're very patient, you're very kind. Thank you so much. And then I put my name or whatever, and then I put a PS, and a PS I learned as a realtor, you put PS, you put a call to action. So I said, okay, hey, if you know if anybody who's in a similar situation as a seller or behind lot rent, please refer them to me. I would love to help them out. And then she texted me literally like a week after, said, oh, thank you so much for the card. And I would definitely let you know if anyone else needs help. And
Right.
so yeah, so that's how that whole thing went for sure.
And you know what, Ryan? We actually, me and my brother gave one of our park managers who helped us with one deal. We gave her $100 gift card. I
Yep.
think it was to like, just one a regular store. She got
Yep.
up and started crying. She opened it up, she got up, she started crying, and she
Yep.
gave me a hug. And I'm like,
Wow.
whoa, let me see that card. I'm thinking she was hugging me like it was $1,000. I'm like, can I see that card again? I was joking with her, but at the same time, I'm thinking, how many zeros is on here that you tearing up about it? But that's what I mean, that was a good job you did, Ryan. That's what you got to do.
Uh,
And
yeah.
sure, they're gonna be calling you back. I already know it.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's how you do it, because it's the small things, Kelly, and just like you said, you guys made the young lady's day, and just to hear her excitement too, and you just want to stand out and be different, and just being a person of your word. I told her the lot room was gonna get paid regardless. I don't care if it was $1 million, we was gonna find a way to pay that thing off. And so just being a person of your word, like you say, and just being really genuine, man, that it goes a long way. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. That's a cool story, man.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, let me see that. How many zeros is on here? Because you up jumping on me like
Jumping.
that. So Ryan, the home that you sold,
Yeah.
they plan on renting it, right? Because they're
Yes, that's
investors.
correct.
What bed and bath was that?
Okay, good question. That was a two bed, two bath, 1997 Victoria mobile home. It was they bought it, like I said, they bought it for 14, and yeah, two bed, two bath. It was in decent condition actually. The seller took really good care of it, and so but the buyer, he's an investor and he does like construction work, and so he knew how much he wanted to pay and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it was a nice home for sure.
And how much do you think that could rent for in that neighborhood?
Oh gosh, you know what? I did look it up. I did look it up. It was a while back though. I
Hmm.
saw like a rental meter. I saw the low end like maybe 1100, 1200, probably.
Wow.
Um, yeah. The lot rent there, I think it was like 450 or 460.
Wow. So
And
you
so
still making a beautiful profit.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
that mobile home gonna be paid off quick because you only
yeah.
spent 14 for it.
I only spent 14 on it. And that gave me an idea for a model. Like, hey, if I can whenever, I can buy a mobile home like that in general and maybe section 8 it. And yeah, it's amazing. And then I got a lot of diverse buyers, a lot of diverse buyers. And they just pull out cash like crazy. It's just like, whoa. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, so I know you've seen it too.
Oh my god. Well, this lady actually purchased a mobile home from us, and when she said cash, we weren't thinking cash. She
Uh,
showed up to the bank with over 27,500 bucks cash.
yep, I believe it.
And thank goodness we have a good rapport with the banker. She was like, "What's going on here?" And my mom and brother went in the back with the buyers, and it was like an episode of Scarface. They had to
Yeah.
put the money in the machine, and it was just ripping. And I'm like, "What is this? Who brings cash?" You know what I'm saying? We was all nervous. So,
Oh man,
yeah, because you don't know if they're gonna bop you over the head, or
I'm
they don't.
telling you.
You go bop them over the head. So it's two-way street on that. So,
Yeah.
Ryan, do you anticipate, because you're a licensed realtor, you're a registered nurse, do you ever anticipate being licensed to buy and sell mobile homes?
Man, that's a great question. I haven't really thought about that too much. That's something I haven't really thought about. I have to really think about that. I will consider it. But for right now with wholesaling, man, right now my goal is to stack up much as I can, just being transparent. And so it's just like, you know what? If the time comes to where I need a license, I don't mind getting it. But just for right now, like I like wholesaling because I'm in and out. but eventually I do want to buy and hold. So if I'm not sure if I need a license for that, which I probably don't, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure there's other ways around it. So, but I'm open to it if I need it.
Okay. All right. And so, Ryan, can you share with us a secret concerning wholesaling? Do you have any wholesaling secrets for us? Because the sticky note, that was, I already knew that one, but by you saying it just really brought up something.
Yeah.
We had Ryan, we had a family, we left a sticky note. They wanted $40,000 for their mobile home. And
Wow.
we left a sticky note. And as we were leaving the note, the wife opened the door and she said, my husband just got hospitalized, but we got the word from the park manager they were willing to sell. So I said,
Sure.
oh ma'am, I was just about to leave a note, but I'll leave it for you. And I kid you not, Ryan, it took like a week. The wife called us back. She said, you were the only one who asked us about the house, so you guys can buy it. And I said, well, not for 40,000. I have never paid that much for a mobile home. And
Right.
we went to go check it out. They were still stuck on 40. And then she said, well, if we take the appliances, will y'all give us 15? I'm like,
Oh my
y'all
gosh.
acting like this is some sub-zero stuff y'all got up in here. This a regular refrigerator and a regular stove. I'm like, okay, so if you take the
Yeah.
appliances, you go down from 40 to 15.
Yeah.
I was shocked. So yes, a sticky note works very, very well. I
Yeah.
can attest to that.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't say I don't know, man, not secret wise. I would say obviously the obvious, you just gotta be consistent. But for me, it had to be consistent because I got told a lot of no's by park managers. And even I've been calling some dealerships too as well. But you just gotta be consistent. But definitely I would say if like I did with the card, like that helps, or even leaving a sticky note, that's just something to stand out by. But I don't really have too much of it. It's not really secret. It's just really just being consistent and really just engaging with the buyer and sellers. And really enjoy what you do. Like you gotta have a little passion behind it. I enjoy this. I can talk about this all night. And so when my sellers see me, they like, hey, this guy's really passionate. He's really knowledgeable. When I talk to these dealerships, they see the passion, they see the knowledge. And I'm always learning. I learn a lot from your channel, Kelly. So believe it or not, like when I'm driving home, sometimes I put your channel on, like, as a traveling hospice nurse, sometimes it takes me an hour to get home, 45 minutes. I may put on Kelly Harton. What did she talk about
Ooh,
mobile homes today? You know what I'm
okay.
saying? So I'm constantly learning something. That's the key. You
Mhm.
know, you can't like in nursing. You like you don't ever I'm constantly learning something new in nursing. Whether so it's just like always be learning and just be open for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you,
Yeah,
Ryan. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So Ryan, you actually started in September and
Uh-huh.
you closed your first deal in November. What That's a little stretch, a small stretch. Was
Yeah.
is there some reason why you or this life? You were busy with life and then all of a sudden you said, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, I think yeah. So it was early September. I closed back in October the 24th. Just life, with working and stuff with family things I had going on, a lot of family things I had, you know what I'm saying? So, but I was able to still press through and get something done. So if I'm out of town visiting family, like, hey, let me make at least 20, 10 or 15 calls to mobile home parks today even though
Okay.
I'm out of town. So I will always do something, and that way I figure like everything will start to snowball.
Right.
And then giving myself grace. So like, hey, I didn't get to talk to like 10 parts today, but maybe I'll call five. That's the only thing I had time for. At least I did something. And
Right.
so that's the thing is that being realistic and giving, myself grace, and not being too hard on myself, but always progressing to do something better every day. You know, that's really helped me for sure.
Okay. And so, Ryan, have you ever created a ghost ad? Because in the beginning, nobody has no mobile home. I know I didn't have no mobile home, so I
Yeah.
had to, I had to fake it till I made it. Did you ever had to do that? I'm serious.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Ryan, I
Yeah.
created a ghost ad, and then I said something's not right about this ghost ad. I'm telling everybody it's in Chicago, and there's a palm
Uh-huh.
tree in the back. You know, so have you ever
Yeah,
seriously? I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I said, I'm glad I didn't send that off. I would have been the laughing stock of the mobile home business. But hey guys, I'll tell you, I have done a ghost ad.
I
No
tell
shame in
you.
my game.
He
Ryan,
said
have you
portrait.
created? Have you created?
Yeah, I have. I'm being full transparency. I have, and I still do. I still have a ghost ad up from back in early September when I started, and it still get hits. And to be honest, that's how I build like my buyers list. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying like so I have close to 8,000 people in there. I'm not saying that those every 8,000 people are going to buy, but it gets a lot of traffic going. And so literally I probably have about maybe 40 to 50 a week that join the group. And some of them are spam. Obviously, I have to like kind of, watch out for that. But most of them, they ask questions, hey, is mobile home available? Then I tell them, no, it's not, but I have more in inventory, which I do. Um, I have like dealers in there, I have movers in there. I'm trying to like really build it up so I have like a network group of people in there, that way I could, just have them right there. Um, so yeah, I do. I still have the ghost ads. I have one. I took down one, and I still have one that I made in September.
Right.
Right now, I'm working with a park in Athens, Texas, to help with infill, and
Okay.
so I've been like working with them, and so I've been having quite a few people interested in those lots as well. And so Athens is pretty far from from Dallas, but as a traveling nurse, I go out to all these different counties and countries, cities, and so the park owner was like, "Hey, I have some lots available, free 6 months of lot rent." You know what I'm saying? And it was 275 a month after that. And so I reached out to him, and so I've been working with him and the manager as well. So I'm learning like a lot, um, reaching out to those park managers and stuff like that. But yeah, I still do the ghost ad. It's still there. I ain't gonna take it down. I had someone report me, like a Billy Bat, but she reported me, you want to be all tough like this and that. And I just responded like, okay, I laughed at it, like, hey, did you even check the group out? Because I literally do have mobile homes in there, maybe from other dealers, but they're still in there.
Right.
But she didn't really do nothing, so it's all good. So
Right.
yeah.
So, Brian, when you are helping with infilling these lots,
Uh-huh.
what you have to have like there's a certain criteria that the park is looking for, right? You just can't roll anything up in there, right?
Right.
What is the criteria that they're looking for?
Well, so with this, believe it or not, with this park manager, like he's really kind of relaxed on criteria wise. So if it's like a 1980s mobile home or whatever, if it can be, long as it can be moved from county to county to his lot, he's okay with it. He just want his lot rent. So
Right,
I'm
right.
like, okay, cool. So each lot I think is about, I want to say 50 by 110 or 112. I have to check. So I've been
Mhm.
having a lot of people with double wides. They want to move their double wides there. But for the most part, that's what he wants. And so I just tell him like, hey man, like I can do this for you, but I would rather prefer to get paid a referral fee for each one I help bring. He's like, oh yeah, sure. And so right now we're in the process of doing that. I'm right now just working on people who wants to live in Athens. That's a good drive. But I'm getting got quite a few people who are interested for sure.
Okay. And so,
Yeah.
Ryan, what would be like a referral fee for doing something like that?
So it just depends on like what you set with the park manager. Some people start off with 1,000, some people start with 500, some people start off with 250. So for right now, for me, it would be like with him, because it would be like 500 maybe for my first two, but then I'll renegotiate after my first two for sure. You
Right.
know, because I'm still trying to get my feet wet. And so just kind of like learning the ropes. But after my first two, it'll definitely go up, because he'll see what I bring to the park for sure.
Right. And
The
is he
better.
paying for the move?
You know what? That's a good question. I'll have to ask him that. I don't think he is.
Mhm.
But that's a great question. That's a great question. I'll reach out to the park manager tomorrow. and
Okay.
ask that. But I don't think he's paying for the move. I doubt. That because she didn't mention it. So, but I'll ask for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
Ryan, do you have any like words of wisdom for somebody trying to get into this business or somebody who might be having some type of analysis paralysis?
Well, just I'll say just go for it. If you can, if you're gonna pay a course, listen, I'm telling you, I got scammed, and that's a whole nother story. But find you someone that you can be mentored by who's actually in the business. Kelly's in the business. She's actually in the business. Like she's posting in investing groups, mobile home groups, like literally, like every post that she posts, like I see her. Like find you someone you can learn from, but then at the same time, get out there and just take action. Certain things like I messed up talking to the sellers, I messed up talking to the park managers, to the dealerships. It's certain things you're not going to know until you get out there. Just like in nursing, you in school for nursing, they teach you the things you know, but your real experience is when you get out in the field. That's just and that's just how it is with mobile home investing. You gotta get out there, get your hands dirty. It's okay. You don't have to be scared to talk to people or touch the mobile homes. They're not going to bite you. Like get out there in the field. Like see what a mobile home looks like, what it smells like, what it looks like underneath if you can go under there. But just get out there and take action and fail forward. A lot of things I'm learning, like as far as how to talk to people, even dealing with people in Austin with the paperwork. I messed up on the paperwork. I had to do it over, but next time I know, like, okay, I didn't make sure all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so just get out there and fail for it and enjoy life. Enjoy it. This is supposed to be fun. Enjoy it. We are bringing a service to people with affordable housing. We are recession proof. Kelly, come on, man. We all of us, the mobile home investor, we're in a recession proof business. We just have to make sure we continue to do it the right way with integrity. And follow Kelly, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Follow Kelly. I
That
gotta get that course for sure.
I,
Follow Kelly.
I love it. I
100%.
love it. I love it.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. So, Ryan, where do you see yourself 5 years from now in the mobile home business?
Man, real easy. I'll keep it short, man. I would love to have, I'm claiming it, I'm gonna have a mobile home park or parks on a mobile home park, more than one. I would love to either Section 8 them all, someone where I can partner with the government to where I get paid from the government straight up. And then eventually I want to get into like maybe like land development, with mobile homes, like, and so place some mobile homes on land and selling it as a package. I think that'll be awesome. And so that's what I'm gonna be known for. And that's it, man. Just owning some parks and then doing the land development with mobile homes for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, Ryan, how does somebody contact you if they got a deal, if they want to do a joint venture?
Yeah.
And can you tell us about your private Facebook group, any websites, phone numbers you want to share with everybody?
Yeah. I share my phone number. Is 214-530-9394. I'm in the DFW area and surrounding areas. So I'm literally, I drive literally up to 2 hours. That's just me personally. That's what I do because I already drive anyway as a nurse. And so I figure if I can drive for, a couple of dollars an hour, I sure can drive for a couple of thousands, and so yeah, you can reach me at that number, and then you can follow me on Instagram at Mobile Home Geek, and so you'll see a picture of me there, Mobile Home Geek, and you'll see a picture of me there. But definitely text me by phone, and 9 times out of 10, I answer it because either I'm talking to buyers or sellers or another mobile home investor, like we're talking now. So
All right, then. All right. There y'all have it. Mr. Ryan Goer, mobile home investor. I mean, you got so many titles. I can't even mention all of them. But you're killing the mobile home game, and
yes,
congratulations on your
thank
first
you.
deal. Uh,
Yes.
and thank you so much, Ryan, for getting on here.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for having me, and thank you for what you do for our community, man. Because I can say, but just by learning from you and just what people say about you, like you have integrity is A1, is top notch. And so you really try to help people in your videos and what you post. And so I even go back to your old posts, like you have your in some of the mobile home investing groups. And so, and that's another gem too, you know, another so-called secret. Sometimes I go back to the old posts you do, you know, and like, okay, this is what she did. Like, because every situation is different. So I want to say thank you for sharing your platform. And I'm looking forward to the next 5 years of your future as well, Kelly.
Thank you so much, Ryan. I
Yeah,
greatly appreciate that. All right,
yeah,
guys, there we have it, Mr. Ryan Gore. Thank you
yeah.
so much, Ryan.
Thank you.